Hello everyone, today we are going to do a tier list for the Hartford Regionals coming up this weekend and any other events. I believe Malmo Regionals is happening over in Europe. So yeah, we're going to make a quick little tier list here on Trainer Hill's tier list maker, and I will explain my thoughts and talk about the deck lists and things like that as we go. So starting with Lost Zone box, this is a big one. So Grant Manley got top four with this list of Turbo Lost Zone box, using Kyogre in place of the Drapion, and then there's also some other list changes that change when you put that Kyogre in place of the Drapion. You want a third energy recycler, you want an 11th energy. These things are so that Aqua Storm is more feasible to do when it's important to use. You're not going to use Aqua Storm in every game. And then Andrew Gantner also played Turbo Lost Zone box, but you'll see less energy, the Drapion V over the Kyogre, 2 energy recycler instead of 3. So the thing is that Kyogre and Drapion are both a Mew VMAX counter, but Kyogre is good. Essentially, it can be good against anything, right? You never hate doing 250 damage to two of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So it's really good against Mew, just like Drapion is, but it can also be good against Lugia, against Arceus decks that overbench. You can use it against essentially anything with multi-prize Pokemon on the board and no mana fee, and you'll be taking a lot of prizes in the late game with Kyogre if you can pull it off, but it also is a little harder to play correctly, whereas the Drapion, you just slap it down and knock out the Mew VMAX, so it's a lot more linear. Both are fine. Both are very good. My number one pick, if I was traveling to Hartford this weekend, I would be playing Turbo Lost Zone box, and I think I'd just play the Kyogre so I have more options. Like I think I can handle the deck, so I'd just play that. Then we have Alex Shemansky's Lost Zone box, which is very different. This isn't a turbo build. He's playing zero V Pokemon. I don't like this one as much. But I really value having the Forest Seal Stones and the V Pokemon that can last more than a turn. With this variant, it's kind of your classic Lost Zone box single prizer where you have to make a new attacker every single turn, and several of these attackers need more than one energy, unlike the Sablezard variant. So I'm not as big of a fan as that one. I think it's a little less consistent, a little less reliable. And then I'm not sure. I think Cal Connor might have played Sablezard. No, he didn't play Sablezard. Somebody played Sablezard to an okay finish, but oh, Samuel Huff, there we go. So yeah, this is another variant of Lost Zone box, the Sablezard variant. I think this is also pretty good, especially because with the 3 Sableye, 2 Hawlucha, uh, and the heavy vacuum getting into the Sableye as soon as possible, you become a little bit favored against other Lost Zone box variants because you could pick off their Pokemon with the Hawlucha Sableye combo. You also have Radiant Charizard to do a lot of damage, 250, that the other Lost Zone box decks can't really do without using a V Pokemon or something like the Galarian Moltres in Alex Shemansky's list that needs 3 energy. So I do like Sablezard for this weekend, but it wouldn't be one of my plays. My play would Turbo Lost Zone box and Arceus Giratina as my second. But now that we're done talking about the Lost Zone box variants, let's just go ahead and slap that into our highest tier. I don't think it's necessarily S tier, so we could make our highest tier today A, but we'll just put it up here. I think the two best decks are Turbo Lost Zone box with or without the Kyogre Drapion. You know, you could play whichever one you feel comfortable with. And Lugia Archeops. Lugia Archeops is still really, really good. It's just very, very powerful, you know, flooding the board with special energies, and you still have a good amount of attackers to choose from with the single strike variant. I think playing the 1/1 Duraludon is smart because if you come up against Lugias that aren't playing Duraludon or Urshifu, then that's just like a free win if you can establish that Duraludon. So personally, if I was playing Lugia this weekend, I would still be playing the Duraludon VMAX line or the Urshifu VMAX line in there. Probably the Duraludon though, just because I think other people might be taking it out of their decks. In the next tier down, we're going to have Gardevoir. We're going to have Lost Zone Sablezard. We're going to have Mew VMAX, Arceus Giratina, and Lost Zone Gudra. I think all of these decks kind of on the same power level with each other. So Gardevoir, very good. It can set up a established board with the Curlias, with the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, everything like that. It has the board stability. And then Gardevoir EX obviously has a pretty busted ability. And we've already seen that Gardevoir can be successful toward Reklev, got second at EUIC with a straightforward build of it. Goodra Lost Zone Box, still very good. Arceus Giratina just won the Portland Regionals. It's just very fundamentally solid deck that can put out aggression consistently. Lost Box Charizard, as I mentioned, is good into other Lost Zone Box decks, and Lost Zone Box in general is a very, very popular archetype. And then Mew VMAX, of course, is just a consistent powerhouse with Judge Path, kind of similar to Arceus Giratina. So I'd be remiss to put Arceus Giratina in A tier and not put Mew VMAX in A tier with it. So, yeah, these decks I think are all kind of on the same power level. Then moving down to the next tier, we have Gardevoir Mewtwo. We have Arceus Duraludon, Giratina Lost Zone Box. Um, I kind of want to put Inteleon Urshifu here as well, just because it does have good matchups, but I just don't think it's as functionally sound of a deck as like pretty much everything else here. We could also consider the Palkia deck in B. So this is what I mean by the Palkia V-Star deck. This was posted by Makani Tran. He played it to a second place and a seventh place at League Cups or League Challenges. I think this is like a pretty strong, like off meta deck. And I also have seen other people playing it. Zach Lesage, I think, posted that he played it to an event. You have the Empoleons for the Lost Zone matchups to turn off Comfies. Articuno's Paralysis is still good against Lugia. And then you also have Star Portal to power up Radiant Greninja if you want. You have Starmie V as well as an attacker. Some disruption with Roxanne. Lost City to help against the Lost Zone variants. So I think this is a pretty functionally sound deck. And I think it will take people off guard if they've been practicing against the known meta and you play against this Palkia deck. But we're going to put it down here in C tier. We're also going to put Miraidon Flaffy down here, Miraidon Regieleki, and Inteleon Urshifu. We'll put Miraidon Regieleki in D tier, I think. If something has to be in D tier, I would choose it. Miraidon Flaffy did pretty well, so let's see if it can get a repeat performance. I think it has a little bit more versatility than Miraidon Regieleki VMAX. And Miraidon Regieleki VMAX just feels like that deck that you want to hit at regionals. Like, it's just sitting there with Fighting Week, 3-prize Pokemon, a whole board of V Pokemon. Like, so many decks can take advantage of that. Yeah, this is going to be my tier list for the Hartford regional weekend. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Like I said, I would be playing Lost Zone Box, the Turbo Lost Zone Box variant. One more thing I'll touch on is that I've seen people split one Far Seal Stone and one Sky Seal Stone. I still have not been convinced that that split is better than just playing two Far Seal Stones for that consistent reliability. Like having that having those Fire Seal Stones on like turn 1 or turn 2 can change the game. Whereas Sky Seal Stone is something you typically need to see a little bit later into the game. Not always, like on turn 2, if your opponent already evolved into a V-Star, can still be good, but more often than not, Sky Seal Stone is good after you've already gotten into the game, whereas Far Seal Stone gets you there. So I tend to prefer the Far Seal Stones. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So yeah, this is my tier list for Hartford. Good luck this weekend, and I'll see you next time.